Well, joining me now to discuss this ongoing hysteria is social media expert Jordan Baker. Jordan, good to see you here in the studio.
Thank you for having me, Glenn.
For the sake of our health, shouldn't we just get off social media?
Well, I mean, there is a good argument for that, isn't there? There's 3 billion people almost worldwide who are on social media. We are kind of our own newscasters, so to speak, really now. So we can say what we like. They can go out and actually, if we do have photos of people with bags on their head, that tends to get a lot of attention, a lot of likes, a lot of shares, and that kind of spreads like wildfire, and hence the problem that we have.
Sure, but what about the actual conspiracy theories? We almost want to believe them, don't we? Well, why is that?
Well, it's very interesting, actually, because on my way here, my mother actually posted something very similar and had loads of comments on there. I just think that people like a good story, don't they? They quite like the alarmist kind of nature of it. And I think that's why people are commenting, they are liking, they are sharing. And as I say, that's making the problem worse and worse.
Do you think, though, the government is partly to blame if it doesn't share all the information it actually has? And, of course, people use these conspiracy theories to fill the gaps.
Well, I think the issue that we really have is I think people should be looking at a respectable kind of news sites. They should be looking at the World Health Organization website and kind of educating themselves. I think to believe that something, that someone's posted, an auntie or something, actually could potentially be quite damaging, and kind of look to the facts. There's only so much that the government can do. In fact, Facebook and Instagram are now putting in things in place so that they're banning posts with certain hashtags that talk about the virus, and they are promoting their own information actually on the homepage as well. I think people are doing what they can do, but it's human nature to like these types of stories and to share them around, and that's the problem.
And of course, there's only a certain amount the government can do because it can't exactly sort of shut down this. Otherwise, it would be an attack on the freedom of speech.
Absolutely, that's the problem, isn't it? So it's a balancing act between kind of consent and freedom of speech, kind of versus people saying the wrong thing. I mean, it can be very damaging when people are talking about drinking bleach and that sort of thing. Obviously, that's absolutely the wrong thing to be doing and promoting, and yet people are for the likes and the shares.
And yet, people still lap it up, don't they? They still want to read about this. But surely, are we not savvy enough to know the difference between false information, false advice, and of course what is coming from, example, as you say, the WHO or the government?
Absolutely. I think we should be, absolutely, and I think there should be some effort with the government to kind of educate the public on misinformation. I mean, it's actually quite a global discussion anyway. Even with regards to politics, what should Facebook be allowing us to see? Should there be some kind of regulation? And there very much is that balancing act, as I said, with freedom of speech versus not getting information out there which is actually wrong.
Surely, yeah, sure, and it's a question of education, isn't it? That people should really know the difference, not just being controlled by these tech companies to say what can be filtered through or not, but it's just maybe, do you think more education is needed? But how do you do that?
Well, I think we should potentially look at kind of schools. I think a lot of schools are looking at life skills, and actually that could be quite an interesting topic for people to be studying in schools. To kind of look at the source, look at what they're saying, maybe look at some of the stats from kind of more reputable kind of websites, organisations, and actually that could be quite a useful thing.
It's all very well for us to concentrate on social media, but of course the media itself,
absolutely,
news channels, newspapers, just read the headlines this morning and most of the national British newspapers. It's pretty scary stuff, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. It's very, dare I say, clickbaity, isn't it? Where people want to, we have websites or we have news outlets that want to be getting the viewers, they want to be getting the clicks, and as a result, a juicy headline will get that, and obviously advertising is then funded in that way.
Do you think this is the sort of thing? Obviously, it looks as if we're at the start of something pretty big, but just how much of an appetite does the public have, and also a boredom threshold? Sadly, we've had the first death today, and obviously that will make headlines. But do you think as this goes on, the hype will actually subside?
I'd like to think so. We haven't seen that yet, actually. 130,000 people tweeted it today. Google has seen the most searches today than it has. It's been going up and up and up since the end of December. So it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. And as we have the first death of the day, that's another kind of bit of news, so to speak, to then to go into the old the mill. And I think we hope that it will, and I'm sure it will. But when the end is, we're not quite sure.
Exactly. Thank you very much indeed, Jordan, for joining us in the studio. Really good to talk to you on this. Thank you. Counter-terror police.